very, very cloudy. I just don't know what's going on. I don't know what to think. I'm really confused, and I just think that she is too. I don't know. I think she'll come back.
His name is Joseph L. He's 23 years old, and his wife has been missing for 2 days.
What do you think about the fact that she left behind her passport and her phone?
So that stuff is very weird to me. I know she was talking to somebody else. Yeah, I really miss her, and I need her back.
He doesn't know where she is. He has no explanation for why she left her phone, her car, her wedding ring, her passport, all behind. He just knows she's gone. Her name was Mangshi Ji. She was 28 years old, a mechanical engineer, a mother, an immigrant who had spent years building a life in a country that wasn't her own. On October 9th, 2019, she vanished from her apartment in Columbia, Missouri. And at this point, with almost no information, there were really only two possibilities. Either she chose to disappear, or someone chose it for her.
Dispatch, how may I help you? Hello?
I need to file a missing persons report.
Okay, I can help you with that.
This is the call Joseph L. made when he finally decided to report his wife missing. Not 911, not a detective, the 311 non-emergency hotline, the number you'd dial if a streetlight was out. His wife had been gone for nearly 48 hours. There was no sign of struggle in the apartment, no forced entry, no blood. Her wedding ring on the table, her phone beside it, her car in the parking lot, keys on the kitchen counter. Her financial accounts had shown zero activity since October 8th, the night before she disappeared. She had also made plans for October 9th. She was supposed to pick up baby food from a friend. She never showed.
So you guys think she might try to go back to China?
Yeah, because like she told me 3 weeks ago, like she's like willing to back to China.
Joseph had a theory. She'd gone back to China. Her entire family was there. She'd been struggling with the distance. She'd been talking about it for months. It was, on the surface, a plausible story. But it didn't explain the wedding ring. It didn't explain the phone. And it didn't explain why a woman who had just arranged to collect baby food the following morning would walk out the door and never come back.
Do you think she's actually in danger, missing, or do you think she's just avoiding you?
Well, I really think that she left on her own.
He's calm on that call, measured. The missing wife story is already organized in his head before police have asked a single question. When officers arrived at the apartment that night, Joseph's friends were already there, gathered around Mangshi's laptop, looking for flight records.
Hey, Joe.
Hi.
Hey, it's Officer Joseph.
Officer Joseph,
I was just going to come over here and get some details from.
They found nothing in the browser history. No flights booked, no travel searches. But Joseph had found something else, and he brought it out.
I actually found this earlier. It's like a journal type of document. And it talks about her having like some secret love. She mentioned this guy's name, and actually it turns out it's this guy right here. And I just messaged him earlier and he responded to me, but I think he's in China right now. Anyway, that journal article talks about this guy. She's like in love with him or something, and that she's not interested in her husband, but that she's married and she has a baby, and so she has to stop like doing this.
Messaging him.
A digital journal, written in Chinese. Joseph had copied it into Google Translate. In it, Mangshi had written about a man in China, someone she had feelings for, someone she called a secret love. She also wrote that she was going to stop because of the baby, because of her marriage. She had chosen to stay, but Joseph was standing in front of a police officer, handing over the journal, putting another man's name in the conversation. Was this a grieving husband sharing everything he knew, or someone building a narrative? At this point, investigators didn't know the answer to that question, so they kept asking questions.
Where's her car at? Is that in the parking lot?
Yeah.
And the keys to it, or?
Yeah, keys are here. They're in the kitchen.
And that's usually where she leaves them?
Yeah.
Okay. Was the door locked or was it unlocked when you woke up?
Yeah.
Everything pointed to a voluntary departure, an unlocked door, her belongings left behind deliberately. A woman who, by Joseph's account, had been unhappy for months and had been talking about leaving. 6 days passed with no sign of Mangshi. The police put out a public appeal. They got almost nothing back. Their one real source of information was Joseph. On October 15th, they brought him in for a formal interview.
I know you talked to the patrol officer and stuff, but sometimes stuff gets lost in translation, and since we're the ones actually working the case, right, we want to get everything straight from you, okay?
She was complaining a little bit about, me not doing anything for Anna outside of just playing with her and changing diapers. But I just told her I was really stuck. I don't really know where any of that information is, and so that was kind of like a little argument, but I wouldn't call it a fight.
That you guys were seeing a counselor.
Joseph walked them through the marriage. Recurring arguments about money, about the baby, about distance. He described a relationship that had been struggling for months, small frustrations piling up, a growing coldness between them. He described October 7th, a Monday, an argument about whose responsibility it was to renew their daughter's Medicaid.
We were still just a little bit distant from each other after that.
Tuesday, October 8th. He left for class without saying goodbye. Came home at 5:45. They fed the baby together, put her to bed. And then, that evening, Joseph said he decided to do something kind.
So I did that for a while on the massage. But then eventually I just kind of got tired of massaging her. It was a pretty long massage, but I was doing it kind of slow. I was trying to drag it out because I wanted to extend the amount of time that we were together doing something. And so I did a kind of slow, long massage, but eventually I just stopped. I felt like I kind of massaged everywhere on her back, and so I stopped. And she just said, I told her I'm done. And she just said, okay. And she kind of told me, I don't know, during that time she had told me that she had to get up early in the morning to go somewhere, and I asked her where she's going, who she's meeting.
He gave her a long, slow massage. He said he was trying to reconnect with her. She'd been distant, and he wanted to close that gap. When he finished, she told him she needed to be up early.
I don't know, during that time she had told me that she had to get up early in the morning to go somewhere, and I asked her where she's going, who she's meeting. And I asked her about 3 times who is she meeting, and her answer was just, quote, me.
He asked 3 times who she was meeting. Just me, she said, just me. He accepted that. Went to the living room, watched videos on his phone until 11:30, then went to sleep.
Put my hand over to where Munchie is. I kind of normally tell her, like, hey, I'm gonna get Anna, you just lay in bed or something, but I put my hand over there and she wasn't there.
5 in the morning, his daughter crying. He reaches across the bed. She's not there.
So I was just sitting home with Anna because she needs somebody home, of course.
He thought she'd gone for her early morning plans. He went back to sleep. When he woke at 8 and she still wasn't there, he spent the day with his daughter.
We really like taking Anna on walks, and so I wanted to go check that area out. So yeah, I got in my car, got out back on 63 South again.
He took her car, drove around, walked the baby, told himself she'd be home soon. He didn't call anyone, didn't leave a note, didn't visit a hospital. The next morning, October 10th, it wasn't Joseph who forced things forward. It was Mangshi's mother.
I was actually right there by the door carrying Anna from the kitchen to the living room. And so I just opened the door. Well, I peeked outside. I couldn't really tell who it was. He was actually standing on just like on the first step. And so it was kind of hard to see who it was. So I just opened the door, and it was home. And he told me that Munchie's mom contacted Holmes' dad to have Home come over and check out Munchie.
Mangshi called her mother in China every single day. 2 days of silence had been enough, and only after someone else showed up at his door did Joseph L. call 311. Back in the interview room, detectives kept listening, and then Joseph said something small that caught their attention.
I wish I could tell you. She's been acting a little weird recently.
You used a strange phrase with me just there. You said, I wish that I could tell you. If you were to ask me that question, I would say, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. To me, that tells me that you are not telling us everything that you know. Okay?
I wish I could tell you. Not, I have no idea. Not, I genuinely don't know. But I wish I could tell you, as if the information exists, and he simply can't share it. The detective names it directly. Joseph's response is one word.
To, hurt myself too much over this, trying not to think about what could be happening. So I'm just trying to graduate. I graduated this semester, and I don't want to screw that up now.
Joe, I'm hearing you talk an awful lot about Joe and what this has meant for Joe. I'm not really here for Joe. I'm actually here for her, to find her.
His wife has been missing for 6 days. His infant daughter is in the building, and he's worried about his semester. Now, was any of this proof of anything? Not on its own. Grief is strange. Shock looks different on everyone. Investigators know that. But they also asked Joseph to hand over his phone, and they were about to find something they hadn't asked for. To understand what investigators found on that phone, you first need to understand who Mangshi Ji was and what her life looked like inside that apartment. She came to the United States from China in 2012 at 21 years old. She had no family here, barely knew anyone, and enrolled in the University of Missouri's graduate program in mechanical and aerospace engineering. She graduated in 2014 with her master's degree. Hired straight out of school by Nanova Biomaterials, a medical technology company. An immigrant woman in a demanding STEM field, not surviving it, leading in it. In 2015, Joseph joined the company. She was his supervisor. They started dating. In 2017, he proposed at a park called the Devil's Icebox. She said yes. They married. Their daughter Anna was born in 2018. And here is Joseph, on camera, describing why he fell in love with her.
All right, so talk to me about who she is, why you fell in love with her.
Well, she's a very dedicated person. She's a hard worker, and I really like that. That's important to me. And she's really, she's very, very detail-oriented. And that's something that I honestly didn't see a lot in a lot of people and really a lot of girls as well. But she was, she's a mechanical engineer with me, or same as I am. And that was something that was pretty important to me too, because I really kind of always thought that I'd have sort of my own business and maybe have a car shop or something. And I thought that she would be helpful in that. I thought that she would be a part of that. And I told her that whenever we first started dating. And I think that she kind of liked the idea of it. She really likes the idea of working hard and making money.
He doesn't describe falling in love with who she was. He describes recognizing what she could do for him. Useful, helpful, a part of his business plan. Mangshi gave up her engineering career to raise their daughter. Joseph left his job and went back to school. Income dropped to near zero. Stress compounded. And for Mangshi, a woman who had built her identity on education and achievement, the transition to stay-at-home mother in a foreign country, cut off from everyone she knew, was quietly catastrophic. But she didn't talk about that publicly. She didn't post about it. She didn't call anyone. Instead, she did something else. She kept records.
Complaining a little bit about, me not doing anything for Anna outside of just playing with her and changing diapers. But I just told her I was really stuck. I don't really know where any of that information is, and so that was kind of like a little argument, but I wouldn't call it a fight.
We know this because of what investigators found when they went through Joseph's phone, and later, when they found Mangshi's own devices. Between the two of them, there were more than 14 hours of secretly recorded audio from inside their home. Joseph's explanation was that he recorded their arguments so they could review them together and work on improving their communication. What the recordings actually contained would reframe everything investigators thought they knew about this case. The recordings don't start shocking. They start like what they appear to be. Two people in a failing marriage, frustrated with each other, saying things they probably shouldn't. And then they keep going.
Before, but what you do and say, it hurts me. I've only just recently started using the term abuse. But it has been abuse in the past.
She says the word carefully, quietly, as if she's still deciding whether she's allowed to use it. Abuse. She's been building up to this for a long time. Now she's finally said it, directly to the person she's describing. Now listen to how Joseph responds.
If every conversation, serious talk to you is abusive, then we have nothing to talk about. Life should just be marshmallow and cotton candies, sweet and unreal, just fantasy. Am I abusing you now? Yes, I am. I'm always abusing you. That's a pleasure of me. That's what makes me happy. Look at how happy I am. I'm so happy. Burst into tears.
He's performing a comedy routine. His wife is telling him she's been abused, and he is laughing at her.
Time is when she went out to run some errands. She went out to drop off our utility bill, drop off our rent, and I think she was going to go shop for some clothes for Anna, something like that. She was going to go shopping just a little bit, but again, she was out for probably, I don't know, between 2 to 4 hours, and she came back later, and I was just really shocked. I was asking her what took you so long. I thought you were just going to go out for something really quick, and she kind of just told me, no, it took a long time. And actually, I remember specifically that time, after she came inside, she sat on the couch, and she was all red-faced. Her cheeks were all very, very red, especially after I was really asking her a lot where she had gone and what she was doing a lot.
Where do you think she is?
I don't know.
This wasn't a one-time reaction. The recordings show this pattern playing out again and again. He would start the argument. She would react. He would blame her for reacting. But Mangshi hadn't only kept his recordings. She had been making her own. Over 4 hours of audio, captured on her own phone without his knowledge. Arguments, confrontations, and something even more extraordinary, secretly recorded couples counseling sessions.
See that you're stressed. And I'm asking you, and I'm telling you, Mangshi, I can tell that this job is giving you stress, and it's negatively affecting your health and your actions and your ability to take care of Anna. And I'm asking you, are you okay?
They were in counseling, going through the motions of trying to fix things. Meanwhile, inside that apartment, Joseph was systematically dismantling every support structure Mangshi had left. She had found a small freelance translation job, just a few hours a week, a small income. For a woman who had once led an engineering team, it was a thread of independence, a way to feel like herself. He framed it as concern, said he was worried about her stress, worried about the baby. What he was doing was eliminating her access to her own income and her own time. And then there was her mother. When Anna was born, Mangshi asked her mother to come from China for the first 100 days, a common postpartum tradition. Her mother was the only family she had in the country, her entire support network.
Your mom was there and what, you said stop looking at her like she's a criminal. Well, you know what, she's a criminal. And I'm not chill around her. I am watching her like a hawk. Like she's a snake that's about to take my eggs.
After that visit ended, Mangshi was more alone than ever before. No job, no income, no mother, no friends to speak of. Her entire world had shrunk to the walls of that apartment.
A lot of jobs. Sacrificed so much. Spent so much time and money. Been living so frugal. No desire. No wants. No happiness. The exchange of
That is a woman describing the slow erasure of herself. She had an engineering degree, she had a career, she had a country she had built a life in, and she had traded all of it for this. And now, in August 2019, 7 weeks before she disappeared, the recordings capture the moment things reach a breaking point.
You've abused me a lot, and I think I would bring that up in court.
I'm not gonna hear this.
Okay, we can talk about it in court. So here's the statement that I really want, that I'm very earnest about. I want to divorce you.
Divorce is now on the table. Mangshi has threatened to bring the abuse up in court. Joseph has threatened back. And then he reaches for his most powerful weapon.
Mentioned in court that you're abusive to me. Should I ask them to deport you?
Deport her. Mangshi had lived in the United States for 7 years. She earned her degree here. She built her career here. Her daughter was American. Her green card was tied to her marriage to Joseph. One phone call from him to the right people, and everything she had built could disappear. He knew that. He was counting on her knowing it too. The recordings keep going, and then they get to somewhere that stops investigators completely.
You find all those stories about men and or women beat the shit out of their spouse, kill them, whatever. That's the thousands of families you're talking about.
He's talking to his wife about men who kill their wives, calmly, like he's discussing the weather.
For nature, I kill it. I grab its head and break its neck. That's how you conquer nature. You think you're so empowered because of this society. Well, don't forget that nature exists. You're still just a woman. And there's nature in that. There's nature in your brain.
That is a recording made inside a home, inside a marriage. Made by a man who, 7 weeks later, would stand in front of a news camera and tell the world he had no idea where his wife had gone. Investigators listened to that recording, and then they went back through everything Joseph had told them about the night of October 8th. The massage, the slow, deliberate pressure on her back, what he had called, in his own words, pressing maneuvers. The 5 a.m. moment of reaching across the bed and finding nothing. The full day he spent in her car, taking the baby for walks, telling himself she'd come home. A question was forming that had not existed before. What if she was never anywhere to come home from? Armed with the recordings, investigators moved. But what they arrested Joseph L. for, at first, wasn't murder. It was something hiding in a photograph that Mangshi had sent her mother in China 8 months earlier.
Image on her phone of what appeared to be an infant child with a bruise on its buttocks.
How would you characterize that bruise that you saw?
Considering the size of the child, it was a pretty severe bruise.
A photo of baby Anna, 3 months old, with a severe bruise. When confronted with it, Joseph didn't deny what had happened.
Which incident we were speaking of, and that he had caused the bruise, that the incident had occurred, he said, approximately 7 months ago when when Anna was approximately 3 to 5 months old. That it had occurred when Munchie had been gone from the residence and he was watching Anna, and that she was crying, that he was stressed out, and that he could not get her to stop crying.
He was held on a $500,000 bond. With Joseph in custody, investigators had time to go through everything without him watching. And in his belongings, they found something they hadn't been looking for. A handwritten document. Pages, hour by hour, October 8th through October 10th.
Then says 7:30 a.m. drive to campus. Then says 9:15 a.m. drive home.
Every single detail he had given police. The bus, the 5:45 return home, the dinner, the massage, the YouTube videos, the 11:30 bedtime. He had written it all out in advance. He didn't just tell police a story, he rehearsed a story. But it was the margin notes, the things he had written to himself in the margins of the script, that stopped detectives cold.
Then says, there is only one emotion the public will relate to: sorrow, sadness. 7:45, has nothing to do with bringing Munchie home.
Read that last note again. Don't confuse past and present tense. She is a great mother. Is, capitalized, underlined. A man who believes his wife is somewhere in China, alive, breathing, maybe with another man, does not have to write himself a reminder to speak about her in the present tense. You only need that reminder when you already know she isn't coming back. Gone on television, looked into the camera, said he hoped she was out there somewhere, finding herself, and that one day she'd come home. He had written himself a script for that too. In February 2020, the state filed a murder charge against Joseph L. No body, most of the evidence circumstantial. And then they went looking. Investigators went back through Joseph's phone records from October 9th, the day he spent taking the baby for walks. His account placed him in several locations around Columbia and Jefferson City, an ordinary day with his daughter. But cell records are more exact than memory. There was a 30-minute gap near the Lamine River, a location he had never mentioned to police.
We're pretty confident that we're looking in the right area.
Cadaver dogs had picked up a scent. They built a temporary levee to control the flow. Divers went in for days. They didn't find her here. The weeks turned to months. A global pandemic arrived and consumed the world's attention. Mengxi's family in China waited. Her daughter grew up without her mother. Then, March 2021, 17 months after Mengxi was last seen alive.
It's a pretty wide area around this column, this support column. Right now, since we've hit the river bottom, divers are going to go in the water for their exploration. We're going to move the boom truck to the other side and start dislodging all the other debris on the other side. So,
how deep is the water there approximately?
It was 16 feet. I don't know what it is today.
A hiker at the Devil's Icebox State Park, the same park where Joseph proposed to Mengxi in 2017, found a purse partially buried in the dirt near the tree line. He cleared away the earth, and he found her skeleton. She had been there for 17 months, buried in the park where he asked her to marry him. When investigators cross-referenced the phone records, Joseph's cell placed him in that exact location on October 9th, 2019. And then, there were the boots.
Basically just that day, August 31st, 2019?
Correct.
And what are the descriptions? The description column, what is that?
Filing fee for divorce.
Filing fee for divorce, is that what you said?
Correct.
During the original search of the apartment back in October 2019, investigators had bagged a pair of hiking boots, muddy, caked with debris, taken as standard evidence. A year and a half later, those boots went to a lab. The material packed into the treads, juniper tree needles, was DNA tested against the trees at the burial site. Match. He had walked into those woods. He had buried her there, and then he had driven home in her car and called 311. The medical examiner couldn't determine cause of death from the skeleton alone, but the bones did tell one story. 4 broken ribs, all broken completely through, all in the same cluster, all in the exact location on her back where Joseph told police he had been performing what he called pressing maneuvers. The case was going to trial. The prosecution opened by laying out the sequence of events they believed had taken place on the night of October 8th. Mengxi had discovered that baby Anna's Medicaid had expired. There was a doctor's appointment 2 days away.
Mengxi found out that Anna's Medicaid had expired. Mengxi was concerned about this because later on in the week, on the Friday, October 11th, there was a doctor's appointment. And if that Medicaid didn't get renewed, there was going to be a big problem with that doctor's appointment for Anna. And Mengxi was very concerned about this. The defendant's frustration with Mengxi was at an all-time high.
And then, according to the prosecution, Joseph walked into the bedroom and found something he had specifically, repeatedly forbidden.
He would later tell the police that he found out that Munchie was talking to her mother on the telephone. He would act like that was no big deal. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence will be that the defendant had strictly prohibited her from talking to her mother.
The one person in the world Munchie could still turn to. Joseph had cut off her job, driven away her mother, threatened deportation, and still, she had called. According to the prosecution, what happened next was the end result of a year of recorded threats given a physical form. A man who had said, "I grab its head and break its neck," finally making good on who he was.
The last interaction, ladies and gentlemen, that the defendant said he ever had with Munchie during the entire time that she was alive involved a massage.
6 feet, 180 pounds, on top of a woman who was 5 feet and weighed 100 pounds, face down on a bed. The defense had a different story. For the first time, after 2 years of telling police he had woken up and she was simply gone, Joseph L. got on the stand and changed his account entirely.
She was just stopping me from getting up, basically.
Well, stopping you? How? How did she do that?
She pushed me, and then she pushed me again, and then I pushed back this time, in the same area.
No, what's the same area? We need to know this. This is really important, Joe. What do you mean the same area?
Where I have been getting my shoes on.
Okay. Well, I thought that you had already walked to the door, toward Anna's bedroom.
No, I got up after putting my shoes on, and I was starting towards that direction. Yeah, she fell back. She fell into that.
Where did she hit? Let's see it. Show us.
I don't know exactly where she hit on that.
Are you saying that she fell back on her back? Is that what happened?
No, she stumbled backwards and kind of ran into that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you really didn't push her that hard. It was kind of getting away from her, but she fell back hard. Is that what you're saying?
I pushed her pretty hard.
She stumbled. She fell. She hit her head. He went for a walk to clear his head. When he came back, she went to bed. And when he woke up the next morning...
But instead of her being gone, she's just dead, and she's right there in bed with you, correct?
That is correct.
His wife was dead, and Joseph's response was not to call 911, not to call anyone. He put her body in his car, drove to the park where he had proposed to her, and buried her in the woods. Because, he said, he was scared.
You could have easily called 911, correct?
I could have, yes.
He could have called for help. He just didn't.
So you got Munchie, who's 5 feet, 100 pounds. Here's Joe, 6 feet, 180 pounds, correct? On top of her, right? Did you hit her with a toolbox real hard, just come down straight on that back?
No.
Did you maybe stand up on top of her and jump on top of her back?
No.
Did you suffocate her?
No.
Did you strangle her or cause her to urinate on the bed?
No.
You admitted there was urine on that bed, correct?
Yes.
Urine on the bed. Not from a massage, not from a fall that someone walks away from. Urine is what a body produces when it stops. Completely, suddenly, finally. Someone died in that bed. And then, one final confrontation.
Yes, there's only one emotion the public will relate to is sorrow/sadness.
And you also warned yourself, isn't it correct, to not talk in the past tense, right, Joe?
That was advice that was given to me.
Even if someone coached him, even if that's true, what it means is that in the hours after his wife died in their apartment, his energy went not toward grief, not toward guilt, not toward getting her help or calling for anyone. It went toward writing a script.
Whatever she's doing, I just hope she's safe. And I really hope that she can, find herself and come back to me and Anna, and we can just have a big long talk, and that's all we need.
When he said those words, she was already in the ground.
Members of the jury, were you able to reach a verdict? Okay, please hand that to the marshal there. Mr. Elledge, would you please stand to receive the verdict? We, the jury, find the defendant, Joseph Dwayne Elledge, guilty of murder in the second degree.
Second-degree murder. Not first. The jury did not find premeditation proven beyond reasonable doubt, but guilty. Guilty of killing his wife. He was sentenced to 28 years, 1 year for every year of Mangxi's life, 10 additional years consecutive for the child abuse charge, 38 years total. His motion for a new trial has been denied. Today, he is serving his sentence at Southeast Correctional Center in Charleston, Missouri. His and Mangxi's daughter Anna is being raised by Joseph's mother, but she spends her summers in China with Mangxi's parents. With the grandmother Joseph once described as a criminal and a snake. She is learning Mandarin. She is learning where she came from. It is the one small grace in an otherwise devastating story.